Yo, what is really good, my dudes? Today is February 18th, 2019, and we got another RuneScape update for y'all. Today is a basic patch week, so without even further ado, let's jump right into the video. Let's go.
Cats is the illest. What you talking about, Willis?
Alright guys, so it is a patch week. We got some updates to mining and smithing, treasure trail improvements, and various other things. But before we get into that and head on over to the patch notes themselves, I do want to touch on that in case you didn't know, it is double XP weekend coming out this coming weekend. That is the 22nd of Friday at 12 o'clock game time until Monday on the 25th at 11:59 game time. All your standard double XP weekend rules will apply this time around, no different, so make sure you're prepared and ready for this weekend to get those gains. That being said, like I mentioned earlier, it is a patch week, so we're going to head over those patch notes and see exactly what's been changed since. So some updates to combat. Auto regenerate will no longer give you a message that is failed to activate if no adrenaline is available. Ex-members in free-to-play worlds will no longer be able to use shield abilities while still wielding a members only shield. Prevented teleporting using a POH mounted Amulet of Glory on free-to-play worlds. Players can now use magic note paper to note dark bows. Corrected main hand blue right sword's damage value. The super prayer renewal buff will no longer display the wrong icon after the player teleports via a lodestone. Checking the special rewards within the beast tab of the adventures interface that you can get from a monster with many drops will no longer cause an odd behavior when subsequently inspecting a monster with not many drops. Secondary action bar keybinds will now function when the main action bar is minimized. The Ripper Demon jumping mechanic will now consistently fire when they reach maximum adrenaline. Interfaces that gray and lock the use of keybinds will no longer show keybinds as available if the action bars are updated. When looting Solak and rolling for the Torn Grimoire page drop table, you have another chance to roll a second page. Moving on to some mining and smithing changes, Artisan's Workshop Respect Enhancers will now consume 1 charge and double the respect for each 0.25% earned when an item is made in the workshop. The ore box can now be used on a deposit box in a similar fashion to a spirit gem bag or coal bag to empty the ore's contents into your bank without depositing the ore box. The resourceful aura will once again display a text message if you've gained an extra crystal flecked or red sandstone when mining. Options to toggle off getting sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic geodes has been added to the settings interface. In progress smithing items can now be used on forges to heat them instead of displaying the nothing interesting happens message. The hit points of lower level gem rocks have been reduced in line with earlier fixes to Prifddinas gem rocks. Mining crablets no longer depletes stamina, so they can be mined AFK as before. Their hit points have been lowered so that a crablet is typically mined in a little under 5 minutes. The XP from mining crablets has been reduced to compensate. Fixed a empty cell in the mining skill guide. Moving on to some changes to some items. Players will now receive a unique message when damage reducing items such as defenders or war priest armor proc from environmental damage. Master skill cape keepsake overrides will now consistently stay active when logging into a free-to-play world. Issues causing players to not be able to reclaim their family crest gloves have been resolved. The shadow gem battle axe override now appears in the axes filter rather than daggers. Diango has thrown out the fleshy parchment bingo card, an issue causing some players to not be able to combine the death, law, and blood ethereal leg pieces has been fixed. The Divine Omatic Vacuum is now always lost on death. The Flame Sword enchantment no longer appears on Swagger Stick at all, as it was causing issues. Moving on to some textual changes, some grammatical oddities around the Amulet of Glory compacted have been resolved. A typo in the dialogue with the Jungle Forester has been fixed. Removed unnecessary comma from search a barrel outside the mill in Taverley clue scroll. Improved messages when not having the met requirements to force a task with a Slayer mask. The forward and back tooltips on the quest interface are now translated. Updated the login message for Posty Pete when he's lost property that you can claim to include that it can be obtained from the letter to avoid confusion when Posty Pete has left. Phil and Delphi will have something to say once the post-quest content is completed after the new Chef's Assistant quest. They were oddly quiet beforehand. corrected some grammar inconsistencies on compacted teleport items to state 1 charge remaining rather than 1 charges and 2 remaining charges, etc. Couple of changes for mobile. Change the position of text floor on dungeon floor selector interface. Tweak DG floor select interface to make it clearer. Fixed an issue that blocked the quest accept screen from being displayed for the Mourner's End quest, meaning the quest could not be started on mobile. Various UI improvements and bug fixes found after the launch of player on port interface reskin. The icons for Gunpowder and Black Slate have been corrected. Previously they were swapped. The captain's log once again defaults to the ship status when opened. Move some text on ship interface in the voyage information at the bottom. Move the crew information to the right hand side so you can still see resources. The crew drop down is now taller so the information fits better inside the frame. Made text boxes bigger on ship parts to improve visibility. Moved 3D captain head down 10 pixels on the crew roster interface. Added a divider line in the Voyager frame to separate the name of the voyage from the information, and resized the voyage interface down slightly. Moving on to several other fixes. Corrected a quest giver NPC focus issue that prevented the Pieces of Hate and Spirit of Summer quests from being started. Players will no longer be able to use their POH butler to escort guests to their throne room. Twitch Prime packages will no longer be delivered in Stealing Creation. Updated the color of the message from cyan to blue when catching a blue wisp in the Wisp of the Grove D&D. Changed a message to inform players that they have chopped some bamboo rather than logs. Players will inform Amanishi Maui that she has taken to Waiko instead of Amanishi. The options menu in the Legacy interface mode will now close when using the escape key. The event tab on the community interface now correctly appears locked during event downtimes. An issue where a player couldn't be correctly assigned to a team during Stealing Creation, which would then disconnect them every time they were killed, has been fixed. Renamed a timer in Death's office. The screen will no longer fade to black when trying to enter the cave on White Wolf Mountain on a free-to-play world. A frog spawn fishing spot in the Lumbridge Swamp Caves has been moved to a more appropriate location than it was previously at. Tooltip for the Redemption Prayer now mentions its prayer point draining effect. Added some of the latest quests to the featured tab on the Adventures interface. Players should now correctly be able to call a follower pets that are stored or appear in the POH Menagerie via the Customizations interface. After completing the Elder Kiln and Brink of Extinction quest, you can now reclaim the quest Combat Lamp from Zar Mej J or Ak in Zar City Plaza if you destroy it. Added chocolate cake to A Tale of Two Cats quest overview required items section. Made a change to Shatter Worlds that should stop rifts from spawning on inaccessible tiles. Additional checks have been implemented to try to minimize or eliminate the chance for clues to swap or progress into the same clue. There is now a confirmation option when entering a deathmatch lobby via the Edgefield PvP hatch. Celebration lamps now have a use all interface enabled. Fixed an issue where Null was appearing when using Eagle's Peak Lodestone Keybind. Brought Summoning Pouch and Scroll Traded interface up to standard. Updated the Magic Spellbook for visual consistency with other icons of the same type, like those found in the ribbon. Scan clue scrolls will now reopen again when leaving a carpet ride. Blocked tiles in the Earth Altar have been removed. And finally, using clue scrolls on Zyda now allows you to downgrade more than one clue at a time up to the normal cap of 25 clues of the target tier. And that is it for your patch notes. Links to everything discussed in this video will be down in the description below. If you want to head over there, check it out for yourself, go on over and do so. With that, I'm going to wrap up the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed and you want to stay up to date on all things RuneScape related, hit that subscribe button. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. I am out. Peace.